Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to be testing these old-fashioned gaming consoles with various TVs just to see how they look, whether that would be a 4K TV over here or the old-fashioned tube TV here, just to see if there really is a difference between them, because a lot of people say that when you're using these old consoles here, the only way to do it is via a CRT TV because it's so much better. So I just wanted to try a variety of things, whether it be the old Sony PSP, Nintendo GameCube, PS1, PS2 and the old Xbox, even the Wii, just to see if there really is a difference between them and see whether the CRT is much better than the others. Now, talking about the TVs, just quickly go through to show you what I've got here. This one over here is a 1080p standard little flat screen TV. Then we move over to a CRT TV, so these are the big boxy ones with the tube in them. These sort of TVs would have been around when these consoles first of all came out. Then we have a monitor. The reason I wanted to put a monitor in the mix, this is a 1080p monitor, is a lot of people like to use monitors because they say it's more responsive. And over here we have a 4K TV, and again the reason I did the 4K TV is if you're buying a TV within the next so many years, the chances are you're going to be getting a 4K TV. So I just wanted to see how well these old consoles work with the 4K TV. Now, to make the test fair, each of them are going to be connected up with the AV cable. That's these composite cables which are yellow for picture and then the white and red for left and right audio. So really these are the worst cables you can get. Now I've only done it with these cables because sometimes I haven't got a choice, like for example in Nintendo GameCube, and if you're going older than that then the chances are you have to use these AV cables. But if you've got the option, then always go for the better cable. So for example, Nintendo GameCube, you can get component leads for them, but they're really expensive, as in ridiculously expensive. But when it comes to the PS2, the Xbox and the Wii, it's not expensive to get better cables. Even this little Sony PSP down here, you can get component cables for pounds. They're not a lot of money at all. So if you've got the option, always go for the better cable. I've just done it all with AV in this instance, well apart from the monitor, I'll talk about that in a minute, because I just wanted to make the video fair, because remember we're comparing TVs and not so much the games systems against each other. We're just comparing each game system on the TVs just to see which one looks better. Now quickly just talking about cables, on these consoles that I'm testing today, the AV cables are the worst ones that you can get. Obviously on older consoles you will just have RF connectors, the ones that plug into the aerial on your TV if you're going back to like the 8-bit ones, but here, these ones would be the worst connectors, followed by, if you've got a choice, go for S-Video or SVHS, which are these connectors here. Yeah, you can see there's 4 pins in there. Now, these just do the picture. See, the problem with the AV leads is that you've got all the picture, the colours and everything coming down this one cable here. While with S-Video, you've got 4 pins in there, so you're going to get a better quality picture. Now, after that, if you've got the choice, go for component, and all of these consoles will have components, so it's nice and easy to do. But the problem is on something like the Nintendo GameCube, it's so expensive to have component. The cables are well over £100, which is absolutely ridiculous because they're so rare. So you haven't really got a choice on something like that. You have to use an AV composite lead. But this is the Xbox One. You can get these things real cheaply, and this is component, also known as like RGB because of red, green and blue. So these 3 would be the picture, and then these 2 would be the audio, just left and right audio again. And then we also have around the same sort of picture quality as the component is VGA. Now a VGA connection is just picture only. You will have to run a separate cable for the audio. But if you have the choice, if the console allows it, then definitely go for an HDMI connector. So for example, this is a Wii to HDMI, not expensive, £5 from somewhere like eBay, and then it would use this connection here that will go into your TV. But depending on the TV you have, and depending on the console you have, you might not be able to get something like this for your console. Now, just because you get something like this and it converts it to HDMI, don't suddenly expect something like the Wii to be producing a 4K picture, because obviously it's not. But it still might be producing a better picture than it would do over something like an AV connection, as long as the Wii allows it in the settings to output, which it does. It does allow you to output a digital picture. Now, in this video, like I said, it's AV on all of them apart from the monitor, because the monitor hasn't got an AV input. So what I've used on the monitor, I've used this little converter here, which goes from AV to HDMI. So we've got AV going in here, the composite lead, and we've got HDMI out. Now the reason I wanted to do that is because, let's say for example, if these consoles are outputting 480i, that TV then, that 4K TV, has to upscale that image to 4K. Otherwise it would just be a tiny little screen in the very middle of the screen there, which would be, you know, really unusable. So the TV's doing the work of upscaling it. But when you use this little box here, this little box is upscaling it from, for example, 480i to either 720p or 1080p, depending on where you've got the switch. There's a little switch on the side here. So let's say now on this monitor here, this monitor is a 1080p monitor. If I was to put the switch to 720p, then that little box there is upscaling it from, for example, 480i to 720p, and then the monitor's upscaling the 720p to 1080p. So I wanted to put one of these in the mix, this little converter down here, just to see if it's going to perform better, because that's converting it and then this is converting it as well. So at the moment I've got that switch to 1080p, and then the 4K TV is going from 1080p to 4K, and I wanted to know, is it better doing that than going straight from, for example, the Nintendo GameCube, getting upscaled all the way to 4K. This is kind of taking a little bit of the work and doing it before it gets to the TV. So what I've done is, on the 4K TV here, at the moment I've got it connected up to AV, so it is on the composite lead, but I've also got it connected up to HDMI as well. So if I was to go to source and then go over here, this is my HDMI input. If you have a look up there, it will say, you know, 1080p, and at the moment now that is on HDMI, and it's coming via that little box again, because from there it goes into a little HDMI amplifier that just splits it two ways, one to the monitor and one to the 4K TV. So I'm going to do that later on in the video, but basically on the 4K I've got the option to do it on HDMI or AV. So we're going to leave it on AV at the moment. Now, just to stop the video going on for too long, what I'm going to do is, at the moment we're on the Nintendo GameCube. I'm just going to go through each of the consoles and I'm just going to tell you what I think is the best picture. So now on the Nintendo GameCube, I do actually think that the best picture is on the CRT TV, because then when you look at the writing on it, it all looks nice and crisp and nice and clear. When you look at the other ones, I mean, they're all more than playable and they all look really well, really, but I just think that the writing looks better on the CRT. So when it comes to the Nintendo GameCube, if I had the choice between all of these ones here, they are very close to each other in my opinion, but I would be going for the CRT TV. And when it comes to lag and stuff, on the games that I've been playing, I can't notice the difference between any of them. Right, let's go and do the PlayStation 2 next, because I just want to show you something with regards to the lag. Right, okay, the reason I want to go to the PS2 next is just to show you the difference with the lag. So right now, remember, it's still all on AV apart from that monitor there. And if you have a look, when I just go through the screen there, they all perform the same. So when I'm moving it, I can't notice any difference between them. But the funny thing is, now if I go over to the HDMI input, this 4K TV really starts to lag behind. So if I go over to HDMI, so I've come off the AV now and I've gone onto HDMI. If we start over here and if we go, for example, left to right, you can see that they're both moving at the same time. If I go between the CRTV and the monitor, again, they're moving at the same time. But I don't know if this is going to pick up on the video here, but when I go left to right here, the 4K TV is just ever so slightly behind. So it's lagging a little bit, and depending on the game, it probably wouldn't really notice it much on maybe a racing game like this, but depending on the game, that lag could annoy you. But there's an easy way to get rid of this. So if you find that your TV is not performing the way it should do, then see if it's got game mode. So for example, on this TV now, if I was to go to settings, this is the 4K TV, and if I go to picture, and then if I go down to where it says special viewing mode, I have an option to put it into game mode. So I've gone down to game mode, and I'm just going to turn that on. And then what that will do is it will sacrifice a bit of the quality of the picture, but it will be more responsive. So it's not going to process the information as much. So it's going to basically process it quicker. So if I exit that now, and now if you have a look, when I go left to right now, to me now that is exactly the same as the monitor, and the monitor is the same as the CRT TV. So if you find that your TV is not working as well as it should, see if it's got game mode and then go for the game mode, and then hopefully that will reduce the lag to make it more playable. Now what I will say is, when I'm moving it around here, if I zoom in a little bit, on all the TVs apart from the CRTV, when I'm moving it around fast like that, it's kind of hard to read the writing as you're going along. It's a little bit blurred, as if it's kind of, I don't know whether it would be called ghosting or the refresh rate or something. So that's on that one. If I go to the monitor actually seems to suffer from it quite bad, which I wouldn't have thought it would do. But you can see it's hard to read the writing there. And also this TV here. But yet, on the CRT TV, it's a lot better. So I would say on something that's fast moving, the CRT TV is definitely going to perform better than all the other TVs. See, when I do that now, it's still, I'm not saying it's easy to read, but you can still, if I was to see the license center there, even when I'm moving it around fast, you can still make out that it says license center. But on all the others, you can't make out that it says that. It just looks like a blur, and that's on all of them. See, I thought the monitor would behave similar to the CRT TV, but really I don't think it does. And it could be because I'm going via, on the monitor, remember, I'm converting the signal before the monitor from AV to HDMI, and that could be the problem. Maybe it's this little converter box here is not working quick enough, because that was only £10 from Amazon. It's not going to be a high quality piece of equipment. Right, okay, so anyway, that's how to quicken up the 4K TV. Let's actually get into the game and see what it looks like picture-wise. Right, I'm just going to pause it there a minute. Now, this is interesting on this one. Again, it looks nice on all of them, whether it's the 4K, the monitor, the little TV, or the CRTV, they're all more than playable. But, although the CRTV, again, I would have thought would have been better for colour, I actually think on the PlayStation 2, out of all of them, I think I would be the happiest playing it on this little flat screen TV here. Followed by the monitor. The monitor does look pretty good and the colours look really nice on that one. But the problem is, when it comes to, let's say, the letters on screen, I don't think they're quite as clear as they are on this little flat screen TV here. So if I had the choice, and I could pick and choose, I would rather play, it looks good on the 4K, but I would actually rather play on this one here. And I mean, if you look at the clouds here, you can see that the quality on all of them is pretty good. Remember, the 4K is going to look worse because we need to be twice the distance from it, because these are all roughly the same size, these three here, but on this 4K one it's twice the size, so you're going to have to stand a lot further back to get it to look the same as something like this. But even still, when it comes to the colours and everything, I just think this little TV down here is the best on this game on the PlayStation 2. So let's just try a PlayStation 1 game on the PlayStation 2 just to see which one looks the best on a PlayStation 1 game. Now already looking at the writing on the screen, it looks better on the CRT TV and the monitor. Right, okay, so on this one here, looking at them all, I think again it's a close one between the CRT TV and this little 1080p TV. Again, it's very close between all of them. But if I'm looking at the writing on the screen, it just does seem more clearer on the CRT TV than the others. So if we have a look there, at the moment that's AV straight into the 4K TV. So at the moment the TV's doing all the upscaling on that. While if I then go to the HDMI, that little adapter that I showed you, the converter earlier, is doing a bit of the work. But to my eyes, I can't see the difference between that. Let's zoom into where it says 6th. Right, okay. So that's on HDMI. And now let's go back to AV. Just going to go back again just to see. Yeah, I'm looking, if you look at the T when it's the HDMI isn't really readable, is it? Let me go again into the AV. Yeah, do you know, I think that possibly the AV picture's slightly better than when it's going via that little adapter box down there. So you would think that using the adapter box to do part of the upscaling would be better, but it looks like the TV upscaler is much better. It looks like using the TV upscaler completely is better than having that adapter do some of the work. Right, next we have this little PSP. This is the slim version, so the 3000 model. So this one does have the TV out. So I just need to go down to connected display settings and switch over to the output. Right, okay, now before we go anywhere on that, it's much clearer on the other ones than the CRT TV. Much clearer. In fact, even on that 4K one, it looks really nice. Really nice on that. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting in a UMD disc, ELF, and I'm also going to be doing a game Wipeout, just to see what they look like. So now, when we put it onto the film, it should be full screen on all of them. But the problem is, when we do the game, it won't be full screen. So if you have a look there now, you can see it's full screen on all of them. And on this one, it looks really nice on the little TV there. And, you know, the monitor looks good on this one as well, actually. It looks really crisp, doesn't it? And the 4K TV looks nice. So let's go to play movie. To me now, the winner's easy on this one. It's definitely the monitor. Lovely colours on it. Looks really bright. And much more watchable than the rest. But they're all good, apart from the CRTV is not nice on this one. I know it looks like it's flickering a lot on that one, but with my own eyes I can't actually see that. So if you see, right now it's still full screen, but when we actually get into the game, then it will be a small screen in the middle. There you go, you can see on all of them now, they've gone to a small screen. Yeah? Right, okay, so as you can see, it's not really playable on any of them because of the black border. and this again depends on the TV you have. So if you've got the zoom option, then that TV is going to look much better because it's full screen. Even if the colours and the resolution might not look quite as nice, the fact that it's full screen will still be better than having this big black border all the way around it. So unfortunately on this TV here, the CRT TV and the monitor, I can't adjust the picture in the middle, but I can on this 4K TV here. So if I was to go down to settings, and then if I was to go down to picture size, if I was to go down to custom, so I'm going to hit custom, and now what I can do is go to zoom position, and what I can do is I can increase it to take up the whole screen. So I'm going to increase it sideways to begin with until it gets up to the very edge, and then I'm going to also increase it on the vertical plane as well to get that to the edge. So there we go, I've now increased that to take up the whole screen. Let me close out of that, exit, and now even if you might not think the colours look as nice as the monitor, it still looks better having the whole screen taken up with the game. And again, when it comes to lag and stuff, I can't notice any problem at all. Yeah, it depends on the TV and the console you're using. If I was to use this PSP here, by far the best one would be the 4K TV, purely because I've got the zoom feature. And even without the zoom feature, on this one you wouldn't want to use it on the CRT TV because it doesn't look any good. And I think the Xbox, this is the original Xbox we're using now, and the game is Project Gotham Racing, this game here. I think looking at it, again it's hard to really say, but they all look pretty good to be fair. But I think maybe on this one it's either going to be the 1080p TV down here or the monitor. They both look pretty good. If anything, I think maybe the monitor might look ever so slightly better. The colours look quite nice on it. But they're all very playable. There's nothing wrong with any of them. Look at the actual writing. It does look better on the CRT TV. So that's the 4K. That's the monitor. TV, forget about the flickering, and that's this one here, the 1080p TV. So if you're looking at the sharpness of the writing and stuff, the CRT TV does win, but overall the look of it, it looks to be the 1080p TV here. So let's just go into a game. Right, Need for Speed Carbon. When it comes to the actual game here now, if I'm looking at her face, it does look better on the CRT TV. It looks more clear. Right, okay, so if we have a look there now, again, they all look good. When I was playing it earlier, they all seem responsive to me. I can't notice any problem with any lag or anything. On this one here, I think, again, I would have to say it's either the monitor or the 1080p TV down here. I think on this particular one, the monitor might be slightly more colourful, so it might look better on the monitor. There we go, it's a video that doesn't really have a right answer. I think just depending on what console you're using can vary. I think different ones look better on different ones, and Nintendo GameCube definitely looks better on a CRT TV. If you're using a PSP, it definitely looks better on the 4K TV because you can zoom, or any TV with a zoom is going to look better on. PS2, I think looks better on the TV down here. So you can see it seems to vary. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it just depends on the console, it depends on the game, and it will also depend on how you've got your TV set up as well for different games. So if you've got one particular game and it's your favourite game and you find that the pictures don't look very good or it's washed out, then play around with the settings on it. And then you might find that by just doing that you will get a lot more enjoyment out of the game. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.